Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh. Yeah, 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 yeah. Faith without works is dead. I don't wanna die so soon. I got moves to make instead. I ain't scared, I'm prepared. Big ideas inside my head. I'm gonna make them manifest. And I'm dressed for success. Left, right, order my steps. Network, I ain't gotta do it by myself. Who you know, show me who you know. Better let them know we bout to blow. It's time to go, go, go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Go to work, get to work, yeah. Go to work, yeah. Go to work, get to work, yeah. Go to work, yeah, 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 yeah. I ain't tryna trade my time, yeah. Simply wanna show you what I'm worth, yeah. Daily I'ma stay on my ground. Have a little faith and go to work. Yeah, 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 yeah. Go to work. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm alright every day, 'cause I want everything. I can do anything. Check my resume. There's people against you. They see what you've been through. But look in the mirror, tap into your spirit. There's power within you. Like LinkedIn, I'm locked in, get the job done when I clock in. I weighed out my options, put the work in, that's action, no lacking, just stacking. Big dreams I'm attracting, no accidents, that's fate. Just go in and have a little faith. Faith without works is dead. I don't wanna die so soon. I got moves to make instead. I ain't scared, I'm prepared. Big ideas inside my head. I'm gonna make them manifest. And I'm dressed for success. I left, right, order my steps. Network, I ain't gotta do it by myself. Who you know, show me who you know. Better let them know we bout to blow. It's time to go, go, go. Go to work, get to work, yeah. Go to work, yeah. Go to work, go to work, get to work, yeah. Go to work, yeah, 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 yeah. I ain't tryna trade my time, yeah. Simply wanna show you what I'm worth, yeah. Daily I'ma stay on my ground, yeah. Have a little faith and go to work. Yeah, 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 yeah. Go to work. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, now go nuts, go nuts, go nuts, donuts, 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 donuts.
Hey there, I'm Trevor Houston, the creator of the Who You Know Summit, and I'd like to welcome you to the Who You Know Job Networking Show.
On our program, we'd like to show you a job search like you've never seen.
Everything from getting noticed by employers, how to properly format your resume, and how to network effectively using LinkedIn to drive recruiters to your profile.
We even take suggestions from our amazing community.
So if you want to learn all things job search, go ahead and subscribe now.
Focus! It's all about the job search. So if you want to learn how to land that next success, you heard them. All you got to do is subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss out on a thing. Welcome to the Who You Know Job Networking Show, where what you know is important, but
Who you know? Who you know can make all the difference in your job search.
It definitely can. I'm super excited today because we've got another 10X episode for you today with Brandon Dawson. I'm super excited to introduce you to him in just a moment. But before we dive into all of that, guys, there is no show without the audience. So let's see, who do we got with us in the audience? Mark, who do you got?
I got Cameron Toth, Jeffrey Smith,
Hey.
Hope Mengita, gotta have Hope as always, and Jerusha Jerusha Wynn. Hey, Jerusha.
I see Vanny Joshi watching from India. What's good?
Oh, yeah.
India in the house. Jerusha Wynn, Little Rock. Appreciate you being here. Jonathan, how are you from New York? We got Timothy Mitchell from Houston, H-Town, representing. Hey, guys, let us know where you're from in the chat. Check in with us. We would love to know that. A couple other things. If you are right now, if this is your first time watching the Who You Know show, it's your first time being here, we want to welcome you. So put hashtag first time in the comments. If you are searching for a job, like, I really need to hear from you right now, okay? So just put what you're searching for. You could put, project management, accounting and finance, operations, whatever it is that you do, tell us in the chat and let us know. And we like to reward our top engagers, and we actually have some awards we want to give out, right?
Oh, yeah, we got a few.
So last week, we had an amazing show, and we had 3 people that were really standing out in the chat. So in third place, who do we got?
In third place, drum roll, everybody, we got coming in, and it was a close one.
Close.
Lena Stutz at 35.
Lena
Congratulations,
Stutz.
Lena.
Appreciate you and all the love, Lena.
Stutz Boots.
But you came in third place. You know what that means.
Yeah.
If you're not first, you're last. Just kidding. We love you. And then in second place, who do we have?
In second place, we got the lovely, the wonderful Pauline Garrett. Now, she had 36. She edged her out by one.
By one.
Pauline
Garrett.
Congratulations,
All right.
Pauline.
And in first place.
Yeah, you want to do the honors,
and
first
actually,
place.
guys, I'll tell you, he is first place for the month. First place for the month, so he's actually going to get one of our Who You Know ice shakers, which shame on us because I left mine at home. Mark left his at home because I guess we're just going to ship it to our winner. You're going to get a Who You Know ice shaker, so we're super excited about that. And that's going to go to our top engager, which is Paul Haggerty.
Hey, Paul, congratulations.
Paul, we love you. Now, guys, this is not our normal time. Obviously, it is about 11:30. We normally do the show at 3 p.m. We will, for those that missed the show, we are going to be pushing this thing back out again later on in the day for our normal audience that's here at 3. But we're excited. We've got a very, very special guest with us today, and I can't wait to introduce you to him. But before we do all that, we would always like to bless this show with a prayer for the audience. So if you could bow your heads with me online with us. Dear Lord, thank you so much for this beautiful day. Thank you for the air in my lungs, in this breath that I breathe today, and thank you for my health and the health of everyone around me. Everyone is safe, and that's a positive thing, especially with all the sickness going on around here. So, Lord, I pray that you be with your people, heal them if they are sick, all right? And, in Jesus' name, Jesus' mighty name, amen.
Amen. Yeah, and shout out to Foster, too. Foster is normally with us, but because of the time shift, he always leads the HR career search focus group. So
absolutely.
Shout out to Foster. Miss you guys.
And we got a lot to be grateful for. We've got a lot of landings. Matter of fact, I think last week we had 17 job landings, which is incredible. This week, not quite that many. It was about 10 or so. But still, when you think about that, guys, that's a lot of cash flow going back into the economy. If you round out, let's just say an average salary is $100,000. Last week was 17 people. That's $1.7 million going back in the economy. So this week we've got about 10. So let's get our cash flow. Let's get our donut emojis and our hands on LinkedIn. If you guys can celebrate, we got some landings. Mark, who do we got?
We got a lock and load. All right, we got first up. We have Chantel Sophia Canaholo. Hey, congratulations. We got Amber Thigpen Williams.
Yes.
Hey, Amber, congrats. Our dear friend Gail Houston. Gail, great to see that. Rebecca Gee. Rebecca, hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Julia Woods. Hey, Julia. Oh, great to see that name. Juan Manuel Huerta. Hey, Juan, congratulations, Juan.
Congratulations.
Josiah Bostic. And last but certainly not least, big time part of our network, Kat O'Toole.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Kat O'Toole. All right. I love this because, again, we're seeing people get back to their cash flow. Not only that, but the impact that they're making in the community. And hopefully we can add your name to this list soon.
Yes, and you guys, you need to go connect with these people, network with these people, and build a relationship with these people that we just announced they're landing, because they now know what it takes to get that job. Not only what it takes, but who to talk to. Mm-hmm. All right, they have gone through the process. All right, the maze. All right, they went through it. And so if I was trying to get a job at that same company, that might be an important person to talk to, just to get some insight from them. Hey, how did you do it? Who did you talk to? You know, things like that. So I recommend go connect with them on LinkedIn, congratulate them, give them a big warm congratulation, and then ask them for 5 minutes of their time to talk about how you can do it too, because success leaves clues.
That's right.
All right. Okay, guys, I've got kind of a sad announcement. I'm a little bit sad about it. It's kind of a bummer, but it's okay. Life goes on, right? So we've been talking about having a live studio audience for next week, which is our 4th year anniversary and our 300th episode, right? Today's episode is number 299. So if I can get a 299 in the chat, that'd be amazing. Just put 299. Next week's episode is episode 300. It's a big deal for us. 4 years. And we were going to do a live studio audience, but with all the rise of
the cron.
And the
cron.
The cron.
I'm going to just call it the cron.
Yeah. We just decided to kind of pull the plug on that. So if you've already registered, I just want to send my love and thank you for your patience. We will have a party. We are going to have a party. All right. I just don't know when the party's going to be. But what I'm going to ask of you is for your support, your love. Like, let's still get that episode 300 out to the universe. No matter what, like, okay, we can't be together in person, so what? Let's get this thing out to the universe. So what I'm going to ask you to do is there is a link to the Restream that you can actually connect your channels. So I would love for our 300th episode if we could literally connect our channels. If everyone in this whole chat right now connected their channels and we blasted this thing out to the universe, that would be amazing. So if you don't know how to do that, if you're having trouble with it, reach out to me, send me a DM. I will help you. I want to make sure that this episode, goes to the moon.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, when you think about it, hopefully we've been making a positive impact in your life, and you can also have that impact. We just need you to help us get that word out.
Yep,
right?
Yep. Instead of sharing, because the share button, guys, no longer really does a whole lot. It just doesn't. I mean, it takes a lot it takes a lot of shares. But a pairing, when you pair, it actually goes live. Like right now, we are currently live on Lena Stut's channel. She is pumping this show on her channel. So how cool is that? So we appreciate you, Lena Stutz. You are amazing. Thank you for doing that.
Is that the new slogan? Pairing is caring?
Pairing is caring.
caring.
Yeah, sharing is no longer caring. Pairing is caring. Yeah, I like that. Good job.
There you go.
All right, guys, we got to go to a real quick break, but don't go anywhere, because when we come back, I promise you some 10X up in here. We got Brandon Dawson in the house. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Out there and you're a realtor or you are looking to get your real estate license, it's a very low cost entry, $300 to take your real estate course online. Inexpensive compared to like a college. EXP is $150 to join and it's like $84 a month. So relatively speaking, these are very inexpensive costs. If you are interested in that and you want to work with me as a realtor, I'd love to have you join my team, and you want to hear about the model, then go to join10xempire.com, and I do this opportunity call every Tuesday. Would love to answer your questions and tell you more about what I'm doing. If anyone out there is interested in working with me.
All right, so what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about start, scale, scaling.
Self-made entrepreneur, 2-time Ernst Young winner, 5-time Portland Business Journal fastest growing company. He's going to show you how to scale. Give Brandon Dawson a big hand. Come on up here, Brandon.
If you were a business and you were sitting here at $500,000 in revenue versus $1 billion in revenue, who has law of large numbers working for them? Who has scale? Who has built huge teams that are experts at doing what they're doing? You or the $1 billion company? Grant and I have talking about creating 3 ways to work with us in Cardone Ventures. The easiest and best way, and the only way we'll start working with you, if you come to the top. We got to see how committed and how serious you are about your business and see if it makes sense to even go another level. Anybody can come into the top. For the people that come into the top, then what happens is we're going to be able to offer you a solution where we can actually dock alongside of you and deepen the connectivity, bring the operating teams in, help you guys expand. It's structural.
Well, welcome back to the Who You Know Job Networking Show, where what you know is important, but
Who you know? Who y'all know makes the difference in your job search.
It definitely does. And let me tell you who I know. So I know this guy. His name's Brandon Dawson. You saw him in the video just a minute ago. And Brandon Dawson, he's the CEO and co-founder of Cardone Ventures. He's a business scaling, turnaround expert, and leadership mentor who helps business owners and their teams achieve their personal, professional, and financial goals through the growth of their business. So if I can get a warm who you know welcome for Brandon Dawson.
All right, Brandon. Thank you for joining us.
Brandon, what's good, man? How are you doing?
Doing great, thank you.
Awesome.
Great to be with you guys.
Excited you're here, and I hear that Natalie's not going to be with us today, which is a bummer, but we will we'll definitely get that scheduled for another day. I know there's a lot of things going on at Cardone Ventures right now, right? What's been going on over there?
Well, we had 1,400 people here this last weekend. We have another 150 to actually 300. We got 2 groups coming in, so we'll have 300 people here this weekend. You know, it's just been very busy. We have a lot of events. We do a lot of entrepreneurial programs, and so every single weekend throughout the year is booked, and we love it. Getting ready for our GrowthCon show with 4,000 people in March.
Well, I am just super grateful that you are here spending some time with us. You've got a lot of things going on, a lot of events. Tell us about Cardone Ventures for the audience that maybe doesn't know. Like, what is Cardone Ventures? What do you guys do? You're obviously very successful, but what is this company all about? And how did you get started with Cardone Ventures?
Yeah, so I took my first company public when I was 29 years old on the American Stock Exchange, and what that company did, I started it when I was 26, is I went out and acquired 120 some odd businesses, and then franchised 1,000 locations, took that company public. It was private equity backed, and then my private equity group decided to sell it out prematurely underneath me. So it set me on a different path of creating a business system that didn't require money, that solved a big problem that was happening in the 90s and early 2000s, which is when there was an attempt to consolidate markets, to take small mom and pop businesses and roll them up. They weren't very successful. Many of them were failing. And yet the value that could be created wasn't, and for the ones that worked, the value that was created wasn't going to the mom and pops, it was going to the financial players. So I decided that I was going to create a system that allowed independent business owners grow, scale, create massive value, and retain a majority of that value, learning to use the same things that I wanted to be able to do, which was to start, grow, scale, create value without needing to borrow money or raise any capital at all. So I created my own little business system in my mind and then documented it and then launched that at the end of 2004. And between 2004 and 2016, I built a business entirely organically, generating $50 million in profits, helping 1,000 business owners grow and scale, increasing the size of their business 3.5 to 15 times in size and value. And then I sold the business for 77 times EBITDA, 151 million, one of the highest values ever paid for a private company that was not a tech company, to a $1 billion company. And then in 36 months, I helped them go internationally from 1 billion to 4.5. And all those programs I created, I needed to find a way to bring them to the everyday entrepreneur. So I partnered with Grant Cardone. We launched that business 30 months ago. And in 30 months, we've done, using the exact same things I teach, we've done over $60 million in revenue. And this year will be 75 million in revenue for this year. So wow. Teaching business owners to do exactly what I've spent the last 20 years doing.
All right, well, I'm just going to give you a mic drop for all of that because I don't even know. Like, this guy, he definitely knows how to produce these right here. He knows how to crank these things out. But I would like to maybe go back just a moment because you said you started your first company at 26?
That's correct.
26. Wow. Take us through that journey. Being 26 years old, starting that first business.
Yeah, so when I graduated high school in Corvallis, Oregon, and I went up to Portland State, and I was about 3 months into college, and I realized there was no way I was going to make it through college. I hated school. I was an average student at best. And so I dropped out of college. I had a part-time job where I was working 4 hours a week on a Wednesday afternoon, and I was out selling adults that were working full-time. So I thought to myself, why don't you just get into sales? And so the company I worked with offered me a job in the Southeast. So I moved to Atlanta, got a company car and a credit card, and had for about 2.5 years, I traveled 11 states selling out of the trunk of my car to doctors' devices.
Ooh.
Wow.
So they moved me up to Minneapolis, and I became the assistant sales manager under the U.S. director of sales. And then they fired him a year after me getting there, and there's 28 inside sales guys. And one day they walked over and said, hey, you manage this team until we can find a replacement. I cut the team from the number it was down to about 18, created a program and did 28 million in sales that first year. So they made me the director of US sales. And then I found myself sitting in a room of people that were 25, 30 years older than me, making the same money as me. I had a brand new newborn, just built a brand new home, had a 2.5-year-old, and I walked home one day and told my wife, I'm not going to be one of those guys sitting in that room. So before we get too deep into this, I have enough money we could live on for a year. We're going to sell everything. I'm going to quit my job December 15th, 1995, and I'm going to go out and start my own business.
Wow. Okay. All right. So I want to dig into because there's so much. There's some golden nuggets all in your story. So first of all, the grit that it takes to sell out of your car, right? You said you were driving all over the country doing that?
The Southeast, North South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, 3 different regions in Florida.
Talk to us about some of the rejection you had to go through during that process. I'm sure there were some fun stories. Maybe something that comes to mind, a fun story you want to share with us? Yeah,
it was such a remarkable experience, 19 with a company car and a company credit card. There was no amount of rejection that was gonna dissuade me from not having to be dependent on my parents, not having to go to college. There was no pain you could put me through at that point that was going to dissuade me, because first of all, the people in the South are remarkable. They treated me like family. They take me to their homes after sales calls and feed me. I have 0 bad experiences from that. In fact, I would say it gave me the confidence that as a young person, I could depend on myself. I could do well no matter where you dropped me. If I was nice to people and I worked hard, they would treat me respectfully. And I was just very fortunate I went to the Southeast. Some of my absolute best experiences are in North South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, just learning the culture of the local markets, and then just being free, you know. So for me, I had been able to build the confidence level that, hey, no matter where you put me, I'm going to be okay. And I think that really put me in a position that when I had a newborn and I had my wife and I had a 2.5-year-old and a new home, and I'm sitting in that room with all those older people, it really put me in an experience where I was like, I'm not going to get trapped. I don't think if I would have had that experience traveling around the South and being free and doing whatever I wanted and making money and and surviving on my own and growing up quickly, I just don't know I would have had the courage to leave such a great job.
Well, I've got a question for you, Brandon. What about some of the, because sales is a very diverse, right, career field. I mean, there's lots of different variations of that. What are some of the transferable skills that you picked up through that experience that led you to success in some of the entrepreneurial ventures that you've had?
Yeah, so where I got my teeth smashed was when I tried to raise my first $1 million. That was a rude wake-up call for me.
Let's talk about those teeth.
But before I go there, you talk about transferable skills. Look, the number one thing is looking somebody in the eye and be able to communicate clearly, concisely, and without creating confusion. And so I learned that very quickly. I outsold everyone in the marketplace because I was a college, barely made it out of high school, hated studying in college, and I was competing against really smart MBA outside sales reps, doctors of audiology. And here's the thing, since I didn't know any of the stuff they knew, I didn't try to tell people about that. So what I learned very quickly is they all sit and talked and created confusion. I just went straight to the point and got deals done. And so I could outsell everybody because I didn't actually dilute the conversation with a bunch of nonsensical information, so I could feel like I'm adding value. And that's transferable to everything. So now fast forward, I'm trying to raise, my first deal was I quit my job, moved my family, sold everything, moved my family out back to Portland, Oregon, and started traveling around asking business owners that were 50, 55 years old, hey, are you thinking of selling or retiring anytime soon? And I must have had 100 of those conversations, and I was like told, no, maybe. I couldn't get anything closed. And I met a gentleman in Vancouver, BC, who said, yeah, actually, I'd like to sell in the next 2 or 3 years, and I really like to start enjoying my life right now with my wife. And I said, well, what could we do? So my presentation was, hey, if you're thinking of retiring and you're kind of burned out, give me half. We'll value your company at 4 times EBITDA right now, and then I'll come in and I'll run it, and any increase over that, I split it with you 50-50. And I found that gentleman, and that's what we did, and parlayed that into a $65 million public company within 3 years.
Wow.
So was that your first time doing that and scaling a business? Was that the first time? And you hit
Yeah, it was the first time. It was the first time. And so once I made that deal and I realized there were so many businesses I could buy, I had to go raise $1 million, and that's where I got smashed. Everyone's like, you're just a kid. What do you know? You don't know anything about sales. I was laughed out of presentations. I'd walk in and people go, nah, seriously, dude. And they'd just walk out. And I'd be like, man, after scheduling an appointment and showing up, there were so many people that were just so disrespectful in that cycle. And then there was a lot of teachings, a lot of learnings, me sitting back and waiting for an older person I was working with to show me how to do it. And I knew they sucked as a salesperson because they were financially inclined. I watched the pain and the paint dry every time they talked. So I just finally got more and more aggressive, and I had nothing to lose. I was actually going from Portland, Oregon up to Vancouver, BC to try to raise $1 million. And I pulled over on the side of the highway and I cried for like a half hour. I finally broke.
What got you through that, right? What got you? Because the reason I want to ask this is because a lot of our audience, they're going through similar, maybe not the same, but similar scenarios where they feel like, man, they're getting kicked in the teeth, like you said. And so it's about, what helped you to get through that moment where maybe you were broken, And like you said,
Yeah.
you're crying.
So it was real simple. I had 2 months worth of money left, and I had a newborn, and I had a 2.5-year-old, and a wife who trusted me. And I was determined I was going to win, but I was so frustrated. The crying wasn't fear. It was more frustration because I could not believe how many declines and how many put-offs I was getting. So, it's an interesting thing. I do a lot. I've done so much coaching with so many entrepreneurs, and I've had the privilege to work with so many remarkable people like John Maxwell, Jim Collins, Story Musgrave, the only astronaut that flew all 5 space shuttles, designed, deployed, and fixed Hubble. I mean, I've attached to so many remarkable people because of my weaknesses, reading their materials and studying them, and then getting a chance to meet them, and then developing a relationship as the evidence of what I was learning from them was impacting my life. And so I go back to that moment, and it was such a critical moment. And you only know about catalysts, those moments where it's only in reflection that you recognize that you were so close. And Sharon Lecter talks about this in 3 Feet from Gold. But that night, so I cried. It was so foggy, and I had to get up there, and I left late because I was playing with my kids. I was so frustrated, and I was driving 40 miles an hour. I just got outside of Seattle. It was taking forever because it was so foggy and it was so dense. I just pulled over, and I cried and cried and cried. And then I was like, all right, Dawson, you got that over with. Are you going to lose at this thing, or are you going to win at this thing? And I sucked it up, and I drove up to Vancouver. That next morning, I was so aggressive in my presentation. I was like, look, dude, I can buy these at this price. You need to know what they look like. The broker told me not to talk to the potential investor like that. My chairman said, you can't talk to people like that. And he was falling asleep because I was meeting him at the end of the day, and they come in at 4 a.m. to trade stocks and stuff. And I was just like, do or die. And I said, have you ever seen one of these things? Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you think this is, I could buy as many of these as I want? And he looked at me. His name was Raul. He looked at me and he goes, I said, I'm buying one right down your street. I'll pick you up at 7 a.m. and you can go look at it with me. And everyone's like, oh, you can't be so aggressive. Raul went with me at 7 a.m. And after we left that, he said to his broker, you drive Mr. Dawson's car. And we sat in the back seat and talked for a half hour in traffic. That night, I got my $1 million check.
Mic drop.
Boom. Yeah.
So what I love about this story is, number one, you had a moment where, right, like you said, you were frustrated, like it was overwhelming, right? We all go through those moments. I had one of those moments yesterday, right? We all have those moments. It's human. And it's okay to feel broken. It's okay to even be emotional. Maybe you need to cry about it. Get it out of your system, though, is what I think is the most important thing. Like, if you need to, scream and yell and maybe like punch a pillow or something and just get it out. But then you have a decision to make, right? Are you going to wallow in it, or are you going to get up? The next day, Brandon got up and he said, I'm not going to let this is not going to be my story. This isn't the end of the story. This is the beginning of the story, right? And he went and made that decision, got super aggressive, went out there, closed that deal, did what he had to do. Man, I just love it. Mm-hmm. I think that's awesome, Brandon. I appreciate you sharing that.
And all of a sudden, my whole world opened up. I started doing deals, raising money. I raised $6 million, then I raised $18 million, then I raised another $10 million, then I raised $20 million. I was a deal guy. I was finally realizing my dream on the tractor in Corvallis, sitting in 88 stories of the World Trade Center doing deals for $18 million. And everything was just everything I'd ever dreamed of. High school, barely got out of there. Everyone told me I was a joke, ringing the opening bell. And then all of a sudden, 2001 comes along, and my investors are like, they had control of the company. I made some tactical mistakes, but things were really starting to take off. I mean, I finally solved the problems and was going to dominate. And I was so excited. May 2001 was like the peak of my career. I just inked a deal that was worth an extra $1.5 million a month to the company, pure profit. We were going to go to the moon, and they called me and said, come to New York for a board meeting with the investors. And I'm like, cool. So I fly, and I think what they're going to do is they're going to pat me on the back. In fact, I said, look, I'll stop by when I'm coming back from Europe, because I went to celebrate. I did a 3-day Orient Express train ride with the guys I raised the money with and did the contract with. And they were just like, we're going to crush this. They were going to give me global contracts. I finally arrived. I flew to New York. They pulled me in the boardroom and they said, hey, this deal that you did, it's one of the best deals we've ever seen. But we have preferred equity, and that is on the books as debt for a period of time, and we don't want debt in front of our equity, so we want you to sell the company. And I was like, no. There's no way, dude. And I went into all the things that we had accomplished and where we're going and the contracts I just signed. And they said, yeah, you sound just like all those other CEOs. So we have your replacement in the next room.
Oh. Y'all hearing
so
this?
they fired me by kicking me to chairman. They brought in their CEO that they incentivized to sell my company as fast as possible. And once I realized what was happening towards the middle of into 2001, and then September 11th happened, and everything came to a freeze for a couple months.
Yeah.
And then I resigned to buy my company back because I realized they were just going to flush it and sell it. And that's where I couldn't move fast enough. They sold it for half of what it was worth. There's a whole bunch of things that I'm going to tell business owners and entrepreneurs that I swear to you, you have no idea when you take other people's money, how much control they can exert on you. And I didn't, when I took all that money, I didn't understand about ratchets, cram downs, internal rates of returns, PICs, preferred payments. I didn't know any of that, and it all caused me to be in a situation where I couldn't do anything about them selling my business. So I went from being worth $10 million in May of 2001 to having $400,000 in net worth by February of 2002, back at home with another newborn, wondering what I was going to do with the rest of my life.
So a lot of people will, at that point in time, throw in the towel, right? I mean, a lot of people will admit defeat and resign themselves to, whatever it is. Maybe it's going back to the rat race. Maybe it's, retraining or something like that. What did you do in that moment of what I will say?
I was a victim, I was a bitter victim for a while.
Okay. Hey,
but fortunately,
thank you
I had
for
some
sharing that.
huge mentors.
Did you go through, a lot of job seekers, when they get fired, they go through the stages of grief, right? Did you experience that? Was that part of it?
I think I just bypassed everything and went straight to hate.
Because of the victim, right? You said you were angry, yeah. Okay.
So one of my mentors, just a dear friend of mine, we were playing golf and he said, hey, I can't listen to you be a victim anymore. You did so many incredible things, and all you're talking about is what they did to you, and only if
who was that mentor?
You're 32 years old. What's that?
Who was that mentor that told you that?
That was Hector Lamarck, dear friend of mine. He's one of the upper most successful people in Primerica Financial Services, and he was just a dear friend of mine, and just his name is Lamarck, and I used to say remarkable. He's just an incredible human being, and so he said, when we were best friends, and he said, if you keep talking like this, I can't spend any more time with you, because I'm the most optimistic guy, and I don't like to have drainers around me, and you're being a drainer. So he said, pull the golf cart over, and he said, your future will be made up of every present moment thought that translates to action. And your present moment thoughts are so hung up in your past mistakes that there's no way you can create the future you want. So either you make a decision to create the future you want, or you continue to do what you're doing, and I'll refuse to spend time around you.
Wow.
And it was a hard thing to hear from your best friend. I mean, he's basically...
Well, that's why he's your best friend, man. He's being real with you sometimes.
Baby,
Yeah, that's why he's your best friend, because he's being real with you. You needed to hear it. A lot of times people will tell you what you want to hear, but
not what you need.
Not what you need, and so that's
and your people in the know. By the way, if you're surrounded by people who are placating and going along, agreeing, and all that, you're with the wrong crowd. You need to find somebody that's going to kick you in the butt and help you become the best version of yourself.
Absolutely. I love that. Mic drop for that. That's what a good coach does, guys. Iron sharpens iron, and during that process, there are sparks, okay? It's not comfortable when that iron is sharpening. Like, it's not a comfortable process, but it makes you better, it makes you sharper, it makes you a better sword at the end of the day, right? So, yeah, I love that. Guys, we got to go to a real quick break, but don't go anywhere because I promise you some more mic drops when we come back.
Hey guys, come work for the most innovative company in the world, 10X Incubator. We're launching 10,000, listen to me, 10,000 tech companies in 10 years. If you're a coder, what?
We got
programmer,
coders, we got graphic designers, we got copywriters, digital marketers, biz dev.
you name it.
You
But
got
if you
skill.
like tech, love tech,
Hungry.
want to be in tech, okay? We don't actually require that you get the jab here either. Just so you know, like if you want it, good. If you don't want it, no problem. We are hiring. We want you. If you're good at your job, if you're disciplined, if you want to be paid well, if you want to be taken care of, if you want to be in a 10X environment, click the link below. Give us your resume and a short video, 30-second video. Just tell us who you are. Tell us what you do. We want you. We want you.
Let's go.
We want you.
Hey, Trevor Houston here from the Who You Know Job Networking Show. And if you're currently out of work and maybe feeling a little past your prime and employers aren't necessarily knocking your door down to hire you, I want to tell you about a free training we have called the Career Transition Summit, where it's going to do 3 things. These 3 secret things are going to help you get back to your cash flow. So number 1, it's going to help you to rehumanize the experience of finding a job. It's been dehumanized. We need to put that human element back in. And number 2, we have this special formula that helps you to get noticed and stand out from your competition. And number 3, we have the formula and the systems to help you to get back to work by saying what you need to say in the interview process so you can close the deal and get your bank account full again. And the best news is it's absolutely free. So if that's you and you're feeling like you're a little past your prime, and we know you're not, and you really want to look as good on the outside as you are on the inside, click the link now to gain special access to this free training we have called the Career Transition Summit. It's going to get you back to your cash flow. It's going to help you to get noticed and really get you feeling good about yourself. So click the link now to get started.
She blows my mind at the way she is able to see where the opportunity lies for people. She demonstrates the discipline, the transparency, the inspiration, the accountability, the alignment, and the results. So without further ado, this is Natalie Workman.
You have to be so crystal clear on these 3 things: your mission, your vision, your values. You hire, you fire, and you reward your team members based off of these things. You create the environment around you in your business. But guys, this isn't just related to business. How many of you guys have people in your life, just as friends, that should not be in your life? Not anymore. But how do they get in? They get in because they don't know why you exist, they don't know where you're going, and they don't know the things that you're about. Your mission, your vision, and values, they're broken, the boundaries are crossed, oftentimes because we aren't clear as people, as humans, what we're willing to accept in these areas.
Welcome back to the Who You Know Job Networking Show, where what you know is important, but
who y'all know?
Who you know can make all the difference in your job search. Guys, we are back, and I'm super excited. We've been talking with Brandon Dawson from Cardone Ventures, and we were going to get Natalie Dawson in here as well, so we'll make sure to reschedule that and get her back on the show very, very soon. But welcome back, Brandon. Good to have you back with us.
Yeah, you as well. It's great to be here.
So I wanted to just kind of switch gears a little bit and talk about what you have going on at Cardone Ventures, and tell us a little bit about the culture of the company, and maybe is there anything specifically there that you guys are hiring for right now, or any roles or anything that you guys need to take Cardone Ventures to that next level?
Yeah, so we had we're 2.5 years old. We ended last year with 36 employees. Right now we're at 97. The goal is to be over 200 by the end of the year.
Wow, that's a lot of growth.
And our employees are so the transformation I had to go through with my first company was I was really a horrible leader. I was so focused on what I was trying to do, I wasn't focused on my people. So one of the things I vowed, because when Hector said I needed to change my mindset, it was like, list the things that you were really weak at, your blind spots. Do it, really look at what caused you to fail and fix those areas, and then exemplify the things that were really, really strong. And so that led me to John Maxwell and all the authors that changed my thinking about how I was doing everything. And so one of the things I created in 2005, 6, and 7 that changed everything was the personal, professional, and financial planning that I integrated into the business. So every single employee, every quarter has their personal, professional, and financial goals, a 1, 3, and 5-year goal. And the company's job is to show them through their work how they can hit those goals. And so I shifted the focus from building the business and doing acquisitions and millions to, if our team members are hitting our goals, or hitting their goals, they're going to pull our goals forward. If we have clear visibility into, if I succeed, the business succeeds, I succeed. So we don't talk about the business, we talk about them. And I had, over the course from 2006 up to 2021, we've put over 8,000 human beings on that program. And I built technology to map for it. So when we do the budgets, the annual budgets, quarterly reviews, the budget to actuals, everybody's personal, professional, financial goals for their 12 months, their 3 months, or their 3 years and their 5 years, they get one key goal each year that they want to get at what I call the micro goals. And then they have their big goals. And we have so many people that set their big goals for the 3rd and 5th year that are making them in the 1st. And so what's happening is they're fighting for the business to win because they're winning.
That is so strong. And I heard Natalie kind of speaking to it in the video that we played before the commercial break. She was talking about the mission, vision, values, right? Is that part of that training? Is that?
It is.
Yeah.
It is, because the number one thing with business owners, there's 31.5 million small to mid-sized business owners. And I think for people that are looking for a job, understanding the stats and what the real opportunity is and how to wedge yourself into it is the most important thing. Most people think to find financial freedom, they need to go start a business. And the truth is, it's not true. The fastest way to find financial freedom is to add value to somebody who's technically good, that built something, but they don't know how to take it to market. Let me give you an example. There's 31.5 million small to mid-sized businesses in the United States. 25 million have a single employee, which is the founder. They're all desperate to find somebody to help them, but they don't know what they're looking for because they're technically inclined. They don't understand the business. Okay, that's the first thing. The second, if you just remove the emotion, and I say the only emotion that belongs in business is the emotion of celebration, because all other emotion, high emotion, is low intelligence. So you want to have high intelligence, which means you need low emotion. But when you want to celebrate, boy, you should go crazy and enjoy it, right? And so what we do is we celebrate our team members' PPF achievement. That's the emotion. And we have them talk about it, the impact in their life. We don't talk about when we're frustrated, when we're angry, because the natural process of building a business means the stress on the business. You're always going to be frustrated. You're always going to be angry. So you got to acknowledge that, accept it, take action towards what you want, and then attack it when you gain momentum. And that's what I call the 4 A's. And if you just live by that principle, everyone can work within the business to make it work.
Can you
now, 5.3 million businesses have between 2 and 12 employees.
Can you run through those 4 A's again real quick? The 4 A's?
Yeah, so the first A is acknowledge. When you have stress, friction, resistance, anxiety, fear, just acknowledge it. Then accept it.
Accept it.
And then take action towards what you want, because it's in the thinking about it that you freak yourself out. So pick the target that you want to move to and just start moving towards it. You're going to feel better than doing nothing and feeling the pain. And then as you gain momentum towards target, attack the thing that's allowing you to succeed.
I love that.
Yeah.
And that's what you did it sounds like what you did when you
100%.
Yeah, you were in that moment and you were broken, and then the next day it was like, And so you acknowledged it, you took action, right? You attacked. I love that.
The other thing
And I'll tell you that most people spend the majority of their time talking about what's wrong instead of talking about how they're going to get to what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't help anybody.
Right. So I love that, Brandon, because in what you said is paramount, because as good leaders, right, sometimes we're so focused on where we're going, where we need to get to or want to get to, but not necessarily the people that are going to get us there. So, and they've taken surveys, right, as far as satisfaction, job satisfaction, and what they found is it's not pay, right? That's part of it, but it's not pay.
Yeah, but it's number 4.
It's actually empowerment, right, is one of the number one things that they found. And so not only are you doing that by leading your team in the way that you have, but you've also gone one step further, which is that planning, that financial piece, that gift that you're giving to them, because it is a gift. Not all companies, barely any companies are focused on that, but you're empowering them to succeed not only at the company but in their life in general. And that's huge. That's
massive.
Enormous.
And you've had a lot of growth. Obviously, you said you started, I think, with, 36 employees. Now you're at 96, something like that, right?
Well, we started with 0 2.5 years ago.
Okay, so it was 0. And then a year ago or something, you said you had 36, and then now you're at, 96 or something. You've had a lot of growth. What do you think is either going to take you to that next level? Is there anything specifically you need now, as far as any roles that you're trying to fill? Anything specific?
Yeah, we have. If you go to careers@cardoneventures.com, we have. Look, we're a professional services organization. There's multiple sides to this business. We hire MBAs, CPAs, JDs. We hire salespeople. All the way across services people, events people. Technology, we have a huge technology team that does funnels and actual building technology for business solving issues for us, all across the gamut. And look, if you look at the 10X organization under Grant Cardone, when I met him, he had 130 employees. When you look at all of our organizations right now, we're over 500. So it's just 2.5 years. We'll be at 1,000 employees as a collective group under the Grant Cardone brand. And so like we launched our health business. We acquired a small health business in September that was doing a few $100,000 a month, and we'll do $1 million this month. And so that team isn't even in my numbers. That's another massive team. And they've been laying off all these people because they won't get the jab. And so people that have been dedicated working in the frontline people that were dedicated to saving lives are getting fired, which means they're bringing in people that are COVID positive to work in the hospitals because somebody isn't willing to bend and be told they have to get the jab. So the whole thing's ridiculous. But what that's done for us is we go out and do postings saying, hey, we don't require the jab. We believe in freedom of choice. This is what America's founded on. And as long as you're a responsible human, then we want to work with you. And so the work environment's never been better because there's so many people quitting their jobs because they're so frustrated. They're so disconnected. And Gallup poll, this is not new. Gallup poll does a survey every single year out of 100 million workers for 10 years. 2/3 are disengaged or actively disengaged. 18% are actually admitting that they're sabotaging the business because they're so frustrated.
Man.
How did you get connected with Grant? Can you tell us the story and the background of that, of how you guys got connected? And
when I sold my business, I had been working for years on this formatting, and I knew hundreds of industries that I had reverse engineered with research and science and data, built my algorithms, built the technology, but I had a new problem. How do I go to the marketplace wide, looking at hundreds of verticals versus doing one-off, because that was going to be too slow. And Natalie actually suggested that we look at some of the social media influencers. I had no social media presence. I was just a traditional business guy. I thought most of those people were just scammers, that was my initial thought. And as we started looking at many of them, it was reinforced. There was a lot of just fake people promoting stuff that for someone that has experience, you could tell it was just all nonsense. And then she said, hey, you should look at this Grant Cardone guy. And she showed me a YouTube video, and Grant was out with his hat on sideways, and he's going, hey, hey, hey. And I was like, okay, now you're just like rubbing it in that these guys are all phony. And she's like, no, this guy, you got to look at what he's doing. Because if you want to get big, you got to be able to get attention, and you got to look, he's got a real business. You should read his book. And I refused to read his book for 2 months. And then she made me listen to it in the car on a trip we were going on. And I realized in 10 minutes, this guy knows exactly what he's talking about. Because, you know, it's like somebody who tunes pianos or something. You can immediately go in and hear it, and you know if whoever's doing whatever they're doing knows what they're doing, right? And when I heard him talk and the things he spoke about, I'm like, all right, he's a legit dude. So I started paying attention and reading all his books, and then we bought GrowthCon tickets, 2019, and I said, let's just go see what kind of audience he has. Let's see if this is the real deal or not. And then I went back to my research company, and I said, of the 350 industries that we've been doing research on for the last 10 years, how many of them does he do sales training in? And they came back after a month and said 62%. And I was like, wow. Like, this is gonna be crazy. And so I went to GrowthCon, and I was so blown away by the people I met, part of the 10X community. I was blown away by Grant's work ethic and teaching. The whole thing would get over, and he'd pull a whiteboard out in this Marlin Stadium, and he'd say, anybody that wants to stay, I'll show you how to make money. And he'd sit there till midnight. And I was just like, this guy is like so committed. So I just had a new problem, which he didn't know who we were.
That's right.
And fortunately, John Maxwell, right? What's that?
It's who you know, but it's also who knows you, right?
100%. And John Maxwell was speaking there the first day, and John and I are such good friends. We went to dinner the night before. And when John was done speaking, he pulled us up on stage, and Grant's like, who are these people? What's going on here? And John said, hey, Grant. And he did some of this stuff. And then when he walked off stage, he told me that he told Grant, those are my people. Like if you have a chance to meet them, I want you to know who they are, because they're legit. And so Grant was like, I wanted to meet you when I finally met him, and it just started the dialogue, and then I showed him what we were doing, and you know, the rest is history. We've been business partners almost 3 years now, and the relationship is remarkable, and we're spinning off public companies. Cardone Capital's gone from 900 million under management to over 4 billion. He's raised more crowdfunding than any human on the planet. Cardone Ventures has over $1 billion of businesses that we're managing. So, you know, you look at the portfolio under the Grant Cardone brand, we are blowing it up, and we're going to continue to do it. We're going to 50 billion as a group. So it's like, hold on and watch. So when you ask about employees, we're going to need experts. We're going to need salespeople. We're going to need experts across all aspects of business. But you know what we look for are people that are highly motivated, because look, I have no problem. I listened to a kid on Clubhouse doing a 10X sales challenge with the guys here that work for Grant. And he was so good that I popped on and I said, hey man, this was about a year ago, 9 months ago. I go, hey, who are you? What's your story? So he's immigrated here from Mexico, living with grandma, putting himself through school, trying to do part-time work, bought a single seat Cardone U, trained himself because the business owner wouldn't invest the $100 in his training, used Cardone U to learn to speak English. Wow. Didn't speak English when he moved here. Wow. And 3 years later, he was crushing it. So I hired that kid. In his first year, I had him speak to our group. He'll make $250,000 his first year.
Man, so, mic drop for that kid. That's about grit and tenacity. And
I got 5 of them, guys. I got 5 kids like that.
Man. Because
I was
one
of those kids.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love what you guys are doing over there. I'm just going to tell you right now. So I got my first taste of the 10X. You know, Grant Cardone was over 10. It's almost been 15 years. 15 years ago, I went to a training when he was training the automotive industry. I was in the automotive industry, and he lit me on fire, and I became the top producer at that auto dealership. And anyway, so his training is crazy. It's so good, guys. His training is just phenomenal.
I remember you telling me about that story, and you were saying like he was there and you were walking by and you wouldn't make eye contact because you were afraid he was gonna sell you into his.
I didn't want to look him in the eyes. I didn't want to look Grant Cardone in the eyes because I knew I would buy thousands of dollars of his training. And I was like 23 years old or something. Anyway, I was like, I didn't want to, but his training is phenomenal. It really is good. And
it's not sales training, guys. It's every single person that works on our team has to train on it, or they can't work here. Because if they're not serious about their goals and developing themselves, then I'm certainly not going to invest in them. But if they are serious about themselves and they are serious about their goals, I will invest all the money in them, because they're the ones that are going to propel the business forward. And I would suggest to anybody that's listening to this to understand, you personally own, there's so much opportunity. 5.3 million business owners with 2 to 12 employees begging for someone to come in and blow their businesses up. Only 600,000, less than 1.8% of 31.5 million businesses that have more than 12 employees. It is so hard for someone in that 2 to 12 to get their business into the 600,000, that 1.8%. 2/3 of all these businesses fail every 5 years, 97% fail every 10 years. All these businesses are looking for is someone that wants to come in and demonstrate that they can be responsible, they can grow the business to the next level, and then they can teach other people to do it. And once you demonstrate that, you are invaluable to every business system. So if you happen to go through, you might as well train on that with somebody else's business. And if they don't recognize that, that's okay. Move to a business owner that will recognize it. Promote yourself as an expert. Be able to demonstrate that. Too many employees want to negotiate hard on the way in. Versus if I was unemployed today, I would go to a business owner and say, I'll tell you what, I'll work for free unless I get results. But if I get results, I want you to be leveraged the other way. So give me a bigger opportunity than just a job. And I would go in and crush it. And within a year, that business owner would be asking me what they need to do to keep me, because the hardest thing for business owners is to keep remarkable people.
Mic drop.
I'm gonna drop the mic on that.
100%. Yeah. And I got to say, you've been dropping the mics all over this place, and we're running out of time. But we do want to kind of tease the audience real quick. We've got a giveaway, and it's actually your wife, Natalie Dawson. It's her new book that just came out, right, called Teamwork.
Yep.
And we're going to have her back on this show so she can talk about it. But we want to tease the audience. We want to give that out there. So we've got a question for the audience right now, and we're going to give it to the first person that answers. So in the chat, if you could tell us what was Brandon Dawson said that he was selling something out of the trunk of his car, and he was driving around selling these out of his car. What was he selling? Tell me in the chat, and the first person that comes back will give that book. While we're waiting on the answer to come back, I want to give some shout outs. I see Hope Mangita, I see Joshua Wynn, I see Martha, I see Timothy Mitchell, good to see you. Dion Myers, let's see, I saw Marcus Black here earlier.
Yeah, I
too.
saw Marcus Black. I see Martha Gomez, I see Ivan K. Hey Ivan, I see Jeffrey Smith. Jacqueline B. Philip Austin.
Martha
Hey, Philip.
Gomez, congratulations. You got it. Medical supplies. All
right.
So congratulations, Martha. We'll get you a copy of Natalie's new book called Teamwork. Hopefully you can get some golden nuggets out of that. Brandon, this has been an amazing episode. I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today and to speak to our community and our people out here. Any last words or anything else that you'd love to share with the audience before we head out here today?
I would just like to say that if you're an employee or you're a prospective employee and you want to know how to add massive value to a business owner who desperately needs you, don't sit back and wait for them to find you through your resumes. Put yourself out there, buy this book or get this book, Teamwork. Go in and just learn that book and go in and tell a business owner, I'll help you build a big team that will make your life amazing, because they don't know how to do it. 70% of businesses were started by people who are technical, a doctor or whatever, and they don't know how to build a business. So just go help them do it, and they'll appreciate you, they'll honor you, and they'll want to keep you. Secondly, if you're a business owner and you're struggling building a team, get the book Teamwork. This was written for you to learn how to find those people. But there's 5 steps for a successful engagement. Find, attract, align, develop, and retain. It takes 5 talents to keep great people. You need to understand what those are and engage people at all 5 levels, or you're going to struggle keeping people, which means the business by definition stumbles when they leave.
Mic drop, 100%. Guys, you heard it here. Do me a big favor. Let's pull up a screenshot. If you could take a screenshot with Brandon, and I want you to post that on social media. I want you to share it all over the place. I want you to tag him, drive him crazy. Let him know how much you love him being on this show and how much you appreciate him. Brandon, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Brandon.
You are the
absolutely,
man
and you can
to
find
hold
me
the
at Brandon M. Dawson.
At Brandon M. Dawson.
There you go.
All right.
Guys, that's the show. It's all
Thank
about
you guys.
who ya know. I want to thank you for tuning in to the Who You Know Job Networking Show. We hope you've been inspired, encouraged, educated, and entertained all at the same time. For information on our different events, workshops, partners, or partnership opportunities available, check out whoyouknow.show for more details. And be on the lookout for our new mobile app coming soon. You never know how this show can help someone you know. And if we've made an impact or put a smile on your face today, don't forget to hit that share button on your way out. Until next week, it's all about who you know. Bye!
Is dead. I don't wanna die so soon. I got moves to make instead. I ain't scared.